Elon Musk just destroyed Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and all the Democrats using just 3 words. You are not going to want to miss this.
The big tech companies to take down accounts. You are not meeting with them to ask them to censor on your behalf.
That is correct. We are not.
Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg claims he was pressured by the White House to censor content related to COVID-19 during the pandemic.
Now, Mark Zuckerberg has made a significant about turn. During the pandemic period, we were told there was no way that true information was being censored. So, the recent admission and acknowledgement that true information was being censored is pretty significant if you ask me. Have a look at this comparison here. Here we have the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, in 2022, denying flat out that social media was being controlled. We have here Elon Musk saying that, well, have a look at what Musk is saying. This is on his own platform, of course. Look at this. This is from House Judiciary GOP. He's commenting on that post. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted 3 things. Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans. Facebook censored Americans. Facebook throttled the Hunter Biden laptop story. This is a big win for free speech. Now, like, if you look at this post, it's pretty clear that if the reverse were true, look at this. This is just from someone we follow on X, Geiger Capital. And try this thought experiment. Particularly try this. If you are someone who's thinking, I've got to vote for Kamala Harris, it's brilliant, she's fantastic, it's a person of color, it's a woman, it's a new Obama, I've seen the new poster that's redolent with the hope and optimism that surrounded the Obama campaign. Think about this for a moment. Simply imagine if Zuckerberg had confessed that the Trump White House pressured his company to censor things they didn't like, and then Trump had the CIA, FBI falsely claim a laptop they knew was real was fake to help him in the election. It would be Watergate and impeachment. That is difficult to deny. So let's have a quick look at this video here. Thanks. Let's have a quick look at this, where Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas denies pressuring social media companies.
If Donald Trump was the one that was silencing people instead of Kamala and Biden, he would be in Guantanamo Bay. These people despise him so much that a man that was 76 years old never committed a single crime in his life, and then within this year, he has hundreds of charges levied against him. You cannot silence people from speaking their minds. When you rip out a man's tongue, you're not proving him a liar. All that you're proving is that you're scared of what they might say. They are terrified of the truth. And if what we said was not the truth, they would not give a dang what we're saying. They know it's true. That's why they must silence us, because it is their only chance to stay in power. Because the more the people wake up about what's actually going on in the world, the more that threatens them and their way of life, and they are terrified of that.
We have example after example of this administration, coordinated apparently, according to a federal court, by your agency, pressuring, coercing social media companies to engage in censorship. Is that constitutional?
That is unequivocally false.
Is what the emails show.
It is unequivocally false, Senator.
You are not pressuring the big tech companies to take down accounts. You are not meeting with them to ask them to censor on your behalf.
That is correct. We are not.
Here's my point, Mr. Secretary. It has been established for years in this country, as you very well know because you're a lawyer, that the federal government may not use private third parties to engage in activities that are unconstitutional. That's exactly what you and this administration are doing. You are leveraging private companies to carry out censorship on your behalf. It's dystopian, but worse than that, it's unconstitutional.
It's also false.
Lock that man up.
Turn now to a story breaking overnight. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg claims he was pressured by the White House to censor content related to COVID-19 during the pandemic. Aaron Katursky joins us now with details. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning to you, Whit. For years, critics have taken aim at Facebook for silencing views that challenge the general consensus in the medical community, especially about the origin of COVID-19. Now, Facebook's founder surprisingly says they're right. This morning, Meta chief Mark Zuckerberg admitting he bowed to pressure from the Biden administration to censor content. The Facebook founder issuing a letter to the House Judiciary Committee that said senior administration officials pushed the social media platform to censor posts about COVID-19 and expressed a lot of frustration when the company resisted. Zuckerberg saying, "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it." Adding, "I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again." House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan celebrating the letter, calling it a big win for free speech.
Obviously, the question that comes to mind is one that Drakovich just posted in the Rumble stream. That's one of the advantages of watching this live, is you get to comment on our content while it happens. Drakovich asked, imagine what else they are censoring. Now imagine the kind of power that's being accrued using crisis, using protection, using convenience. Can it be a coincidence that across the world people are concerned about censorship? Can it be a coincidence that across the world people are being accused of being racist? Can it be a coincidence that across the world people are being turned against one another? Men and women, people of different cultures, people of different religions or colours, men and women being turned against one another at an unprecedented scale, to an unprecedented degree. Is this a coincidence, or is there something extraordinarily dark happening that must immediately be addressed? And is it possible that what we're experiencing, what is being exposed, what is indeed the thing that's truly hidden in plain sight, is that massively corrupt power is pulling up its petticoats and trying to protect itself while our movement grows, while real opposition grows, while people are awakening in 100,000 million different ways to the true corruption of the liars who at the heart of the establishment claim to be motivated only by concern of the vulnerable.
As bad as free speech has gotten in America with social media platforms just taking people down willy-nilly, it doesn't even hold a candle to countries like the UK or Canada. What I see happening there is a freaking travesty. I am just stunned that citizens of these nations are putting up with this garbage. But the thing about Mark Zuckerberg, that was a colossal win for free speech, because everything before then was kind of a conspiracy. Like, yeah, we kind of noticed conservative channels are being taken down, liberal channels not so much. But it wasn't until Mark Zuckerberg actually said with concrete proof, yes, they pressured us to do this. So people like Mayorkas, Kamala, Biden, they need to be the ones held responsible, and they need to answer for their crimes, because this is a crime in my mind. Every single American should have the opportunity to speak their minds. Just because you disagree with it does not mean that they cannot voice their opinions. It reminds me of an old Voltaire quote. I may disagree with what you say, but I would defend with my life your ability to say it. Anybody who disagrees with this philosophy has to reevaluate their way of thinking, because it is inherently flawed.
The pre-Holocaust era. If you don't know the extent to which you're being duped, lied to and controlled, but you can only ascertain from the observable outline and symptoms that power seems to be craved by these people, who knows what horrors may yet await us if we do not awaken in a line.
When people read the history of Nazi Germany, they always think they're Schindler. They always think that they're the person who would have saved Anne Frank in the Netherlands. They never read history as a perpetrator. I wouldn't have done that. It's like, did you watch people during the pandemic? In Canada, 30% of my neighbors were thrilled that they had the opportunity to inform on the people around them. Thrilled. They would have worn those goddamn masks for the rest of their life if the payoff would have been they could feel morally superior and inform.
Now, you have to be very careful when evoking that extraordinarily dark period in human history for so many obvious reasons. But when you talk about the phenomena of condemnation, the willingness of people to criticize, condemn, even grass, snitch on their neighbors, do you see that this climate of fear that's being continually stoked, this apocalyptic death cult, this nihilism engendered everywhere, this bewilderment that prevails, do you see that it could lead us into very, very dark conditions indeed? Even if you took the view that the Democratic Party were the party of justice, purity, and ought be in power, then surely you would recognize that were some of these authoritarian measures, whether it's the authoritarian measures that are being imposed on global farmers, or the authoritarian measures that are being used to shut down protests, or the authoritarian measures that are being used to control censorship, if they were to end up in the hands of your opponents, as surely they might in a democracy, because, you know, elections can go either way, right? Then you wouldn't want that power in the hand of your government. But
Donald Trump was at the helm of the United States. He could have prosecuted Hillary. He could have done this, that, and the other, but he chose not to. He chose to bring this country together. He wanted us united. Meanwhile, Kamala, Biden, these people go after Trump and any prominent voices in the Republican Party with hell and fury. They want to destroy these people so badly that it stops anyone else from stepping up. That's what these people want. These are not the type of people that you want in power. And it is a perfect comparison, too, with COVID. Jordan Peterson was saying there were pressures in all avenues of life. If you actually stuck up for what you believed in, you were an outcast. I was an outcast for many years because people just thought I was crazy. But it turns out I wasn't so crazy after all. And many Americans feel the exact same way. We really have to be wary about who we give power because some of these people do not have your best interest at heart. That's why we got to bring Donald Trump back in office. He's the man for the job. He's the man who's going to put America back on the right track. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. How did you deal with COVID and the public pressure that came along with it? I'd love to know in the comments. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.